The phone buzzed with notification, a sound I had heard 1,000 times before. Usually it was nothing, a text from a friend, a reminder for an appointment. But this time it felt different, heavier, ominous. Her phone lay face down on the counter, the screen hidden, but the persistent buzzing was impossible to ignore. It was as if the device itself was trying to tell me something, to reveal a secret that had been buried for too long. A nagging feeling in the back of my mind urged me to look, to uncover the truth. I hesitated, knowing that once I crossed that line, there would be no going back. But curiosity, that relentless pull, was too strong to resist. My hand moved almost on its own, reaching for phone. My heart pounded like a drum, each beat counting down to the moment everything would change. Blood rushed to my ears, adrenaline surging through my veins. It was fear, raw, unrelenting fear, the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew. Her password was no secret. It was our anniversary, a cruel irony now. With trembling fingers, I entered the numbers, each one a painful reminder of the love we once shared. The screen unlocked, revealing a world I wasn't prepared to face. A message glared back at me, mocking and taunting. "I can't wait to see you again. You drive me wild." The words were a dagger to my heart, each letter twisting the blade deeper. I read them over and over, hoping they would somehow change, that they would make sense. But they didn't. They seared themselves into my mind, a permanent scar I couldn't escape. My world, our world, crumbled in an instant. The trust we built, the foundation of our relationship, was gone, replaced by a chasm of betrayal and deceit. I felt like I was falling, spiraling into an endless void. The life we built together, the promises we'd whispered, all of it turned to ash. Memories that once brought me joy now tasted bitter. The future we planned, the dreams we shared, gone, reduced to nothing but painful reminders of what could have been. Betrayal cut deep, leaving a jagged wound in my soul. It was a pain unlike any other, one that would take a lifetime to heal. But in that moment, all I could do was stare at the phone, the words still burning in my mind, and wonder how it had all gone so wrong. He was cocky, arrogant, the kind of man who believed the world revolved around him. His confidence oozed from every gesture, every word. He knew, of course he knew, it was his gift, his curse, the ability to read people, to see through their masks and exploit their weaknesses. And he reveled in it. When he walked into the coffee shop, he practically strutted, a smirk plastered across his face as he took in the devastation written all over mine. It was a performance, a carefully orchestrated entrance designed to maximize his impact. "She told me you wouldn't put up a fight," he sneered, taking a sip of his drink as if savoring a fine wine. His words dripped with condescension, each one a dagger aimed at my heart. "She said you were weak, predictable." His voice was low, mocking, designed to cut deep and leave scars. He enjoyed this, the power he held over me in that moment. It was as if he had reached into my soul and pulled out my deepest insecurities, laying them bare for all to see. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to hurt him as badly as he'd hurt me. Rage bubbled inside me, a volcanic force threatening to erupt. But I knew that was exactly what he wanted, and I refused to give him the satisfaction. I sat there, paralyzed by the sheer audacity of it all. My mind raced, desperately trying to process the situation, to find a way to regain control. But the more I thought, the more trapped I felt. He left then, throwing a dismissive glance over his shoulder, his laughter echoing through the now silent coffee shop. It was a sound that would haunt me, a reminder of my failure and his triumph. But in that moment, something inside me shifted, a fire ignited, a determination to rise above and prove him wrong. Days turned into weeks, each one a struggle to breathe, to function. The betrayal was a constant companion, a shadow that followed me everywhere. Anger and sadness intertwined, a toxic mix that left me drained and empty. Friends offered empty words of comfort, but nothing could soothe the ache in my heart. Yet, amidst the wreckage, a flicker of resolve began to burn. I wouldn't let him win. I wouldn't let them win. This wasn't the end of my story. I would rise from the ashes, stronger and more determined than ever before. His arrogance was his weakness, a flaw he never seemed to notice. He walked through life with an air of invincibility, believing his charm and wit could get him out of any situation. His need for validation was his downfall. He thrived on attention, basking in the admiration of those around him. Every compliment, every nod of approval was fuel for his ego. But in that need, I saw an opportunity. I started subtly, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of those around him. A whisper here, a suggestion there, all designed to make them question his authenticity. Whispers of inconsistency in his carefully crafted persona began to spread. His work, his relationships, his entire life started to show cracks. The stress was palpable, and it was only the beginning. His meticulously curated online presence, once a fortress of his image, became my weapon. I used it to highlight every flaw, every misstep, turning his own creation against him. It was a slow, methodical process, like watching sand fall through an hourglass. Each grain represented a small victory, a step closer to my goal. Like a spider weaving its web, I was patient. Each thread, seemingly insignificant on its own, was part of a larger design, a design he wouldn't see until it was too late. It was intricate, delicate, and ultimately inescapable. Like a master chess player, I positioned my pieces carefully. Every move calculated, every action deliberate. The trap was set, and he was walking right into it. As his world began to unravel, the confusion and distress were evident. He couldn't understand how everything was falling apart, how his once perfect life was crumbling. A sense of cold satisfaction settled over me. This wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about justice, about reclaiming my power. In the end, it was about showing him and everyone else that arrogance and deceit have consequences.